Hello, welcome back to Off the Post. In today's episode, I'll be discussing whether or not West Ham can pull off the great escape in the Premier League. But before that, as always, please like, comment, and subscribe. It's very much appreciated, and it goes a long way to help me build a small community on my channel. We've recently just hit 293 subscribers. We're only 7 away from my goal, 300. Let's go and smash it. But anyways, just a massive thank you for the recent support on our most recent episodes, all the likes and the comments on social media as well. Definitely go unnoticed. And yeah, let's get straight into the episode, shall we? Now, it's West Ham versus Bournemouth on Saturday at 5:30. For me, I've got to say, this game has a lot on the line for West Ham, especially, doesn't it? In their hope of survival in the Premier League. Honestly, if they get 3 points, they'll go level on points with Nottingham Forest in 17th place. West Ham need this victory, don't they? Honestly, they need their players to turn up against Bournemouth. However, Bournemouth are one side that have absolutely been amazing this season, haven't they? Don't get me wrong, they probably haven't been as good as they were last season. They've had a few ups and downs. They've had a few spells where they've gone on the run of form and sort of, had a few losses and 2-minute draws as well. They're not really getting that many 3 points over the line as they were last season. And with the loss of like Antonio Semenyo, for me personally, I thought that was going to be a massive loss. However, you know, they look absolutely fine with their recruitment, with the players they've brought in, with the players they've got at their disposal already. Look absolutely fantastic. But anyways, let's move back over to West Ham just quickly, because in this game, right, if we quickly just move back over to West Ham, okay, in this game, if they beat Bournemouth and get all 3 points, they can literally get level on points with Nottingham Forest in 17th place, and that's like the first time the whole season, okay, where they can potentially be out the relegation zone. Yes, they could be on level on points, and you'd have to hope that Nottingham Forest lose their next game or potentially draw their next game, whatever it is. You know, from that point of view, you've got to have their results go in your favour as well if you're a West Ham fan. But if you look at the last 5 games, for example, West Ham have won 3, lost 1, and drew 1. So they are on good form. For me, if you look at Bournemouth's form as well in the last 5 games, they've won 3 and drawn 2, I'm pretty sure. So from that point of view, they are having a little bit more better form than West Ham are in that season. However, you got to think to yourself, this could potentially be one of the games of the weekend, okay? They've got so many exciting players. There's a lot of jeopardy on the line for West Ham. For Bournemouth, they're sort of sitting in ninth place. They're very comfortable. You know what I mean? I don't think they're going to be in a lot of trouble this season. They probably won't be able to push for Conference League, Europa League either, considering the other teams battling out for those positions. So even though Bournemouth are being comfortable in the league, I don't think there's much on this game for them. But for West Ham, this game's going to mean this game's going to mean the world to them, honestly, isn't it? And I feel like that's where they're going to potentially outshine Bournemouth in this game. For me, when we talk about West Ham and some of their players that need to show up, you know, in recent weeks, Somerville has been their main man, hasn't they? Honestly, scoring so many goals, getting so many assists. I'm quite surprised, and I did not expect this from Somerville when he first signed. Don't get me wrong, he was a player with a lot of potential, coming from Leeds United, of course, the Dutch winger. He was an exciting winger with a lot of pace, a lot of skill, if you like, to be able to dribble past players and beat his man. But he wasn't providing that extra goal, finishing touch. He wasn't providing that those assists either. But now he's starting to come good in the Premier League after 1 or 2 seasons of trying to find his feet. For me, Somerville this season has been so impressive. Someone like Matthias Fernandes has been so impressive, honestly. The way he can just progress the ball forward, okay? The way he can sort of just dribble past those players, score long range goals. You know, he has a shot outside the box, he's fantastic. He's more of an attacking player rather than a defensive player, isn't he? And that's what West Ham need. They need all their attacking players at their disposal. You know, Somerville, Jared Bowen, Matthias Fernandes, Soucek scored last game against Manchester United, I'm pretty sure. Maybe he can fill in that cam position and sort of maybe, provide the goals like he used to with Mikel Tony a few seasons ago. Those crosses into the box, so getting him scoring a few headers here and there and whatnot. Maybe he can use that. Maybe he can use his height to his advantage once again. Who else is on that right hand side? Well, you got Jared Bowen, of course, and need him to start scoring some more goals and getting some more assists. And he has done this season, hasn't he, really? Hopefully he can stay in the Premier League as well. If not, he probably will definitely get a move to another Premier League team. But again, he is Mr. West Ham, so would he want to leave, the club? I'm not too sure. We'll never know, but we'll have to wait and see at the end of the season what happens if he stays or if he goes. If we just quickly talk about Bournemouth's transfer window, okay, losing Antonio Semenyo in the January transfer window, honestly, I thought that would have a massive impact on their season. However, that is further from the truth, isn't it? You know, they've brought in some players like the Brazilian Rayan, okay, and for me, he's pretty much their new Antonio Semenyo in disguise. He's been absolutely fantastic. He's played 3 games, scored 2 goals, and got 1 assist. So far, he looks so electrifying. He looks so amazing going forward, doesn't he? He's able to beat his man. He's able to, score some goals. He's able to, get a few assists as well. For me, he's pretty much got it all in abundance. And I was thinking to myself, right, even though he was linked to some big clubs, in the January transfer window, I'm pretty sure he was linked with AC Milan, wasn't he? Massive, massive club. However, I don't think AC Milan can compete with Bournemouth's wages that they can offer. The Premier League has a massive, massive budget compared to the Serie A. So from that point of view, I feel like that's where Bournemouth had the edge over AC Milan trying to sign Rayan in for his signature, if you like. And for me, he's been so impressive. Alex Scott's been so impressive. Evan Neilson has been impressive as well. Probably could have scored a few more goals, but he's very good at the link-up play and whatnot, bringing more players into place, getting them goals and whatnot. There's so many more names that I can say. Croupier, the French striker, it's funny because Bournemouth have 2 good strikers on their books in their disposal, haven't they, at the moment? And Croupier probably has been better than Evan Neilson this season, but again, he's more of a bench option to bring off in the 60th, 70th minute, a little bit like Aston Villa had with Ollie Watkins and John Duran a few seasons ago. If I had to give my quick little score predictions in this game, okay, it is very even. The percentage wise, okay, West Ham have won 38% of these games compared to Bournemouth's 37%, and then they've drew 25% of the games. From that point of view, it is West Ham at home at the London Stadium. Could you get to see those fans get behind the players again, like they did in the Sunderland game where they just absolutely thrashed them 3-1? Maybe. Again, you probably would say to yourself that Sunderland side a few weeks ago probably has been better than Bournemouth this season, but with the likes of Alex Scott, with the likes of Ryan at their disposal, with Evan Neilson, I don't think it's going to be an easy ride for West Ham whatsoever, and I feel like it might be a draw. I could see this going down to the wire. I could see this being like West Ham winning 2-1, right, and then Bournemouth score a late equaliser in the 85th, 90th minute, something like that. I really do want to see West Ham stay in the Premier League. For me, if you think about the 3 in the relegation zone at the moment, I think Wolves and Burnley are definitely out of it. They're definitely going back to the Championship 100%. Even though they've had impressive results here and there, they've just not been good enough. They've lacked so much quality in their team. They've not really invested that well either. So from that point of view, I feel like West Ham have the only chance to get out of the relegation zone. And for me, I feel like Nottingham Forest can fall in there. Tottenham Hotspur could potentially fall in there as well. If their new manager or interim manager doesn't go have a good strong start, have a managerial bounce that their board is looking for, I feel like Leeds United will be fine. I feel like Brighton will be fine, and Crystal Palace will be fine. I think it's just between Nottingham Forest, Tottenham, and West Ham. For me, maybe Nottingham Forest do deserve to go down with the amount of money they've spent, with the amount of managers they've sacked this season. They've had 4 managers in total at the moment. When you think about Sean Dyche as a manager, right, he's perfect to get you out of those relegation zones. He's perfect to keep you to keep you up in the Premier League. And why would you sack him? It makes no sense to me. That Nottingham Forest board, honestly, it is an absolute disaster class. And they're bringing in the old Portuguese Wolves manager Pereira, I'm pretty sure, just because he managed Olympiacos in the Greek league for the Nottingham Forest owner. Honestly, it just spells of trouble, that does. It just smells of trouble, that does. Honestly, I could not think of anything worse. I could not think of anything worse because he had a, don't get me wrong, he had a good spell with Wolves. He had like a good first 6 games where he won a few games here and there, but then Pereira, he sort of just, you know, he just disappeared after that, and he sort of just vanished. The results sort of started to vanish. The good football started to disappear, and there was just nothing there for Wolverhampton Wanderers to be optimistic about. So I don't know why Nottingham Forest would do that deal either. I feel like it's another one where he could potentially get sacked. But yeah, let's end the video with some questions, okay? How would you feel about West Ham this season? Can they pull off the great escape in the Premier League, or will they potentially get relegated? Have they done enough to get out of the relegation zones? Does someone of the likes of a Nottingham Forest or a Tottenham Hotspur deserve to get relegated instead of a West Ham. How would you feel about them facing off against Bournemouth this season? How would you feel like Bournemouth will do against this game? What are your score predictions? Will it be a draw? Will one team win over the other? Will West Ham be able to go level on points with Nottingham Forest? Or will Bournemouth be able to impress with some of their main strikers? But yeah, before that, as always, please like, comment, and subscribe. It's very much appreciated, and it goes a long way with me build a small community on my channel. We've recently just hit 293 subscribers. We're only 7 away from getting our main target, 300. Let's go and smash it, shall we? And yeah, I want to say a massive thank you for the recent support on our most recent episodes, all the likes and the comments on social media as well. Definitely going to notice. And yeah, I really do hope you have a good rest of your day, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace out.